Well, that sort of leads into my next question, which was about have started a business and it's coming along nicely and I love it. Every minute I'm doing it, I'm just so happy. And then I have the stable, secure, safe job that everybody thinks I should keep, that I can't stand and I hate. And I'm trying to find I sort of think that this pattern happened to my mother and she never followed her dreams, and that might be sort of why she became the way she is. But I'm trying to find the ease in transition.
It isn't just that the same sort of pattern happened to your mother, and that was her release out of it. In other words, even though you're keeping your job, keeping it and proclaiming your hatred of it could lead to Alzheimer's. In other words, because the tension is still there, and it's that tension that we are talking about. And so while you have this job that you do not want, but you're keeping it for the security of it, or you're keeping it for the stability of it, the stability and security of it are things to celebrate. So while you look at your job in celebration for the stability and the security, you're in the vortex while you do that. You get what we're talking about? And so you can have the best of all worlds as you focus upon this work that you love so much, that you love every minute that you're doing it, and then your attention to that will hold you in the vortex. But if you focus upon the work you love, and you focus upon its absence of security because it hasn't developed far enough, then this thing that you love is not beneficial as you think about it. And on the other side of the coin, as you think about this work that you mostly hate, but there is something about it to love, you see what we're getting at? It's a matter of picking your battles and then deciding not to wage them anymore. and it's a matter of picking what pleases you and deciding that you're going to use that as your reason to be in the vortex. And you just the universe will move heaven and earth and all cooperative components to accommodate you once you've decided to look at the best in everything that you're involved in. That's what we call making peace with where you are. Making peace with something doesn't mean you're saying to the universe, okay, I give up, I acquiesce, I'll work this miserable job forever. That's not what it means. Making peace with it means I'm no longer using anything as my excuse to stay out of the vortex. So as you look for the positive aspects in your current work, money flows steadily, I'm good at it, and I can count on it. If that's the only thing you ever talked about, then it would serve you vibrationally well at the same time that it's serving you monetarily well, and you know something that's really interesting? You're not going to believe this at first, but we're going to speak it until you do, because this is a very powerful understanding. Every time you find a positive aspect in your current work that you've been calling the work you hate, every time you find a positive aspect in it, this business that you are getting off the ground that you really want to move into does better for it. Now, isn't that just the strangest thing? Because so many people think that if a woman said to us one day as we were trying to get her to make nice with her ex-husband, she said, Abraham, I don't want to get back together with him. I don't even want to have lunch with him. And we said, we're not trying to get you back together with him. We're trying to get you back together with you. And you keep using him as your excuse not to be together with you. So you hear what we're getting at.
I do.
And this work that you love so much, it is our promise to you. It will continue to evolve and blossom. It will continue to surprise and delight you. It will continue to please you, and it will profit you. But the fastest way to get there is by making peace with what's going on. So you say things like, I've got the best of both worlds, and I love the stability of this, and all of that helped me to create all of this, and this that I'm moving to would not even exist if it hadn't been for the things about that I don't like. And here's the big piece that you're ready to hear. You get it. You've been hearing us enough even here today that by knowing what you don't want, you know what you do want. And it's those do wants that are the reason for this vibrational reality that that so exists and is so calling you to it. In other words, all of what is not wanted is part and parcel of what has helped you to create what you do want. So as you stand in the vortex, and we've talked about how to just blunder your way in and then milk it until you've trained yourself to hang around in the vortex more. From inside the vortex, you can't find anything but appreciation for everything that created it. While from outside the vortex, it just looks like the reason you want to be someplace else. But from inside the vortex, it's the reason that you are someplace else. Can you feel the distinction? So what we're really saying is, don't think about your current job unless you're in the vortex. People will say, well, Abraham, if I could get in the vortex, in other words, we say, consider your problems or consider the unanswered questions only when you're in the vortex. And people say, but Abraham, that doesn't make sense, because when I'm in the vortex, I have no problems. When I'm in the vortex, I don't have a problem. So what do you mean? And we mean just that. It's the only place that solutions consistently exist. You heard us clearly.
I did. Can I have one more? It's about creation. I'd like to write stories and would like to draw some money through me doing that too. But I guess I'm in the vortex. I just feel so great and so just unbelievably wonderful. Because I just feel aligned. I mean, because I'm doing what I love to do. Because I feel good because you used the word alignment. I feel good because I'm offering no resistance to my creation. I feel good because who I really am and who I'm letting myself be are one and the same. When I'm in the vortex, I just feel so good. And we want you to add the because to that. I feel so good when I'm in the vortex because I'm offering no resistance to who I really am. Well, I was going to put a but in there. That's all right. It feels like my brain can't keep up with it sometimes. Like I'm getting so much that I can't get it all down on the computer fast enough, and then I get frustrated. Well, that's only because you're not in there often enough. In other words, when you get in and you're spending all your time trying to adjust to it, that's the sensation. But as you're in there more and you're in there longer when you are in there, then in the beginning, when Esther would tune herself enough to our frequency that she could hear us and express for us, she said to Jerry, it's like having my toe in a light socket. Because the energy was so fast, and while she was up to speed with it enough that she could translate it, it was difficult for her because she still had enough resistance in her own vibration that it made it a really focused experience for her, and she felt exhausted after about 10 minutes of it. But as time went by, and whether she was allowing us to flow through her in the moment or not, as she practiced being up to speed with the fullness of who she is, now it's just a natural thing. Now it's not like a toe in the light socket. Now it's like the next logical step. So just milk it while in there. Milk it. Get in there and don't try to make things happen. This is the message that we've been offering all day here today. Don't try to work so hard to get in the vortex. And when you're in there, don't try so hard to be in there. Let the naturalness of the laws of the universe just respond to you. Just be aware. In other words, really, it's more about this than anything else. The cork floats on the surface of the water, and that's like resistance free in our analogy. In other words, that's like the high flying vibration, no resistance. Now you can hold that cork under the water, which is what negative emotion is, or attention to unwanted things, or resistance. But if you're not doing that resistant thing and you let go of the cork, it's going to bob right back up to the surface. So we'd like you to think of this vortex. It's always calling you. And if you're not clinging to something that's not letting you go, you'll go. And so if it feels a little hard, it's because you're doing a little clinging.
and which was evidenced in your opening remarks to us when you said, I have this thing I really, really love doing, but I also have a job that I hate. That's that clinging. That's that there's still something active in you. So even though you've said, I want this and I want this and I want this, and Source says, and we're standing here with it, come on, come on, come on, you're saying in that clinging sense, but I hate my job and it's secure and I don't dare go. In other words, it's always that thing you do that doesn't let you go that is responsible for everything that doesn't feel good. It's that facing reality. It's that negative expectation. It's that I gotta work it out in the real world. I gotta bang it out. I've got to justify my well-being. I've got to work hard. Someone asked us the other day, is there a sacrifice? Do we have to sacrifice? Don't we have to sacrifice something? In other words, don't I have to sacrifice doing things I want to do by doing things I don't want to do in order to get ahead? And we say the only thing you have to sacrifice is your unhappiness.
What a wonderful thing to sacrifice.
Go ahead, sacrifice it. Let it go. Give it up. I'll give up all of my misery for the joy that is natural to me. That is the message. So you have to sacrifice negative conversations. You have to sacrifice negative thoughts. You have to sacrifice those memories that hurt your feelings. You have to sacrifice stewing over things and brooding over things. You have to sacrifice all that misery for your joy.
Wonderful.
Because you can't have both. It's one or the other, or some degree of it, you see.